Giants, the leaders of the National Basketball League competition, and went down 133-112. James Bullock had a very good game, 34 points. Greg Lazard, 32. Michael Johnson was disappointing with 11. And they'll need all their guns firing in the Palace tonight as they take on the Canberra Cannons, hell-bent on revenge. Of course, Canberra are the only team that have allowed the Falcons to win a game this year. But some top action coming your way now from the Palace. Let's go there. Your commentators, Phil Lynch.
And referee Eddie Crouch raises the ball to begin this game. The Cannons playing in the blue, the Newcastle Falcons in the silver. Crouch is accompanied by Rod Cooper and Herb McGeechan, who's been in such outstanding form lately with the ball. Looking first time into Stelzer, but goes on the outside to Atkinson. Atkinson with the quick move to the basket. Emery Atkinson, Patrick, is making a habit of scoring the first basket for the Cannons the last couple of weeks.
He made a strong move there. The Cannons are running a fairly patterned offensive play in the first part of the game here, Phil, not their regular offense.
Not the regular shot there for Greg Lazard either, because he doesn't normally make that shot. He's not a great shooter, but works pretty well close to the basket. I'd be quite happy to give him that shot. Herb McGeechan to the hole, can't make it, and it's Grant Kruger who swallows up the rebound. Kruger getting into the starting five for the Newcastle Falcons, in a five that Ken Cole has had to switch around a bit this season to look for a pattern. A reach-in foul there against Phil Smythe, and Lazard it is who will go to the free throw line. And the General, who tonight, Patrick, is playing his last game with the Cannons for about 6 weeks.
Yes, the Boomers are off to Argentina next week after preparations in both Wollongong and Sydney, and they're taking off, I think it's on Thursday, for the Goodwill games in Seattle and then to Argentina.
We will get another look at him on Prime Television on Monday night, when you see the Illawarra Hawks take on the Australian Boomers. Greg Lazard off the free throw line to open the scoring for the Newcastle Falcons. It's 2 points apiece. And Harvey quickly up the floor, up against Smythe, and that's a pretty tough job for young Harvey. Cut comes from McGeechan, baseline side of the fadeaway that doesn't go. Stelzer got a piece of that one, out over the end line. Newcastle Falcons ball, and John Stelzer's been doing a particularly good job close to the hoop for the Cannons in the last couple of weeks. And he's got the job on James Bullock tonight. Thomas on Lazard. That's Lazard with the ball right now, and he's got the ball last 3 times up the court for the Falcons. It's Atkinson who cleans up this board, and they've got a 4-on-3, the Cannons here, but now the Falcons come back to even up the numbers a little. Short with the shot is Smythe, and Bullock and Lazard fight each other for the board. And I guess when you've got a couple of the premier rebounders in the league, that's going to happen every now and then.
It is. They both have the red light flashing when the ball goes up in the air. They're both very keen board men. Stelzer from the three-point line.
A little short with it. Stelzer hasn't been shooting a lot of the threes lately, been working closer to the hoop, but he was 1 of 1 last week, and now Harvey backs it away after Smythe cut off that baseline for him, but got the shot up there anyway. McGeechan got a piece of that. Look out, Charlie Thomas, but he just couldn't drag it in to look for the dunk. Emery Atkinson on the end of passes that were headed for everyone, and still the Cannons can't score with it. A little bit of looseness in the Cannons play, and I just wonder the way they're playing, whether they might have come out a little bit soft in this one. As we mentioned at the top of the program, a little bit difficult to prepare for it. Johnson fades away, can't hit it though, and Bullock and Kruger hit the boards and hit the ball out over the end line, as a matter of fact. So the score, after, well, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, is still 2 points apiece. So both teams having trouble scoring.
Both offensives, or the offense of both teams at the moment is a little loose. Phil, the Newcastle team are having about the same amount of conversion as Cannons, as we see an attempted pass inside be deflected.
Pass that was meant for Stelzer underneath. It was well worked out play between Thomas and Stelzer, but just deflected off a Newcastle hand, so the Cannons have got it all to do again. Stelzer backing in against Bullock, and the travel is called by referee Eddie Crouch, as he said that Stelzer shuffled the pivot foot. So still it's 2 points apiece in a very quiet opener to this one. That's off Bullock's hand, so both teams making plenty of mistakes.
I think at the moment, Phil, the turnovers are more than the score.
Yes, it's an unusual opener. The Cannons, who played such a sound game last week, one of the best technical games a team could play against the Brisbane Bullets. We've got a blocking foul on the baseline. That's going to go against Grant Kruger. Put the block on Emery Atkinson just in his path as he went to make the cut. Referee Cooper makes the call. So the first team foul against the Falcons, 1 team foul apiece. White has 1 for the Cannons. Let's see what the Cannons can do this time in the half-court offense. 2-point shot this time from Stelzer, and he sticks it. Maybe that'll get things going for them.
Both teams in man-to-man at the moment, and there's an interesting matchup between Thomas and Lazard.
Bullock sends Stelter into the air. That was an athletic move because he sent him into the air off the free throw line, and then that big step to go past all the way to the hoop was a nice move. James Bullock, 4 points apiece. Thomas has been in such great form lately. Smythe a little long with the three-point try, and Charlie Thomas, it was an easy one in the end, but he did the hard work early to beat 3 men to the board.
Great balance on that not to travel as he was giving the shot fake. Phil, very often big guys drag the foot there, but he was as safe as a bank with that.
There's the score, 6-4 the Cannons. Inside they go to Kruger, met by Thomas. Kruger a little tough with the shot, but Bullock on the other side. And James Bullock is the only real inside scoring avenue this team has. Johnson does it from the outside, but Kruger talked Emery Atkinson out of that one. Just put a little pressure on him and forced him to turn the ball over. So the Newcastle Falcons can in fact hit the lead on this play as Harvey faked the handoff there to Johnson, who hasn't seen the ball. Geechan's been all over him like a rash. Now this is Johnson. Screen from Kruger, and the three-point shot from Michael Johnson is just a little short. So Smythe has thrown up a couple a little short. That was Johnson's first effort. So both teams having a little trouble just finding the middle of the hole at the moment.
Cannons into a continuity offence now where they're looking to pass the ball from one side of the floor to the other and cut people to it, off screens away, as we see there. A great screen from both Herb McGeechan and John Stelter freed up Emery Atkinson for a nice jump shot from the foul line. Well executed offence.
And Emery's really increased his range, hasn't he, over the last 12 months?
I remember when he came down from Brisbane, Phil, he was noted as an inside player that couldn't shoot outside at all, and it really is a credit to him. He works out daily. I often see him at the Institute courts working out, and it's a credit to him.
James Bullock again, so Bullock taking Stelter on and beating him the last 3 times down the floor. Once with a lay-in, the next time with an offensive board, and that one with a little runner, and keeping the Newcastle Falcons there at 8 points apiece. The Falcons are a team who, as we mentioned, had a long losing streak, but they've also been with teams till three-quarter time. They've just been haven't been able to go down the stretch, using 3 players mostly for 48 minutes. That'll be a foul over the top by Charlie Thomas, over the top of James Bullock.
Cannon's getting plenty of shots inside, Phil. All the shots they're taking are quite good ones, but they're not dropping at the moment. These are the sorts of games that if you, I'm sure with a team like Newcastle, you give them any sort of a sniff at all, if it's close coming down the stretch, they can really make a tough tussle of it.
Well, Harvey in the backcourt, who you won't see him shoot a lot. He'll try and get it in the hands of people like Johnson and this man, Bullock. Bullock working Stelter on the outside this time in just a straight one-on-one game. But McGeechan chips in the other side for the board. Now a chance for the Cannons to take the lead here. 8 points apiece, halfway through the first quarter. Good crowd in here at the Palace tonight too, as the crowd really coming out and supporting the Cannons this year. You often find a few games in the year where the crowd is down a bit. You might expect it for this one, but not so tonight. Good crowd in, standing room only. Johnson finds Lazard and just shuffled the feet there as he found Phil Smythe in front of him, trying to avoid the charge. It's a big man, Greg Lazard, Patrick.
He is. He's certainly got plenty of width about him as well as some height. He certainly posts up very strongly against Charlie Thomas with those broad shoulders in action.
Changing of the guard for the Newcastle Falcons. Peter Hill in there, Peter Harvey out, and Tad Dufelmeyer in, and taking... Well, who has he taken out? John Stelter out of the game. And Charlie Thomas had that one blocked by Lazard, but Thomas stayed with it, too far under the hoop to make the shot. And it's Hill to bring the ball up the court into the hands of Bullock. So that score is locked at 8 apiece, and it's been locked that way for the last couple of minutes. Lazard can't make that one, and Dufelmeyer, defensive board amongst the tall timber. McGeechan makes his way to the baseline, hits the jumper. Smythe gave him the ball at the right time.
Very good tempo from Phil there. You'll notice he came to the top of the key, slowed up, waited for Herb to arrive, and a nice on-balance shot from Herb.
Johnson for 2, and Michael Johnson, his first points of the ball game. That's the way Michael Johnson shoots it. He loves to make that fake, get the man out of the way, and the second one seems to go up off balance, but he hits it. And Smythe on the end of that one, what was almost going to be an alley-oop play to Emery Atkinson. A little shake and bake there from Dufelmeyer, has the ball stripped off him by Kruger. Hill all the way to the hoop, and Peter Hill makes the 2 and puts the Newcastle Falcons in front by 2 at 12 points to 10. And Smythe turning it over. Just gave that one to Grant Kruger. Kruger to take on Thomas, and in fact beats him because he's going to be sent to the free throw line on Charlie Thomas's foul. So 2 fouls, Charlie Thomas, Grant Kruger at the free throw line, and Kruger affects 2 steals straight. 7.5 minutes of this game. Charlie Thomas, I suppose you could say he's a little foul prone. He's about 4th in the league in fouls, averaging about 4.2 a game. And Stelter it is who comes in and cleans up the board straight away. Adds to his stats. Dufelmeyer behind the back there. McGeechan always knows that one's coming. And Amory Atkinson over the back dislodges it as far as McGeechan. 12 points apiece.
4 minutes remaining.
McGeechan has 4. Atkinson have 4 for the Cannons. And it's Bullock with 6. This man for the Newcastle Falcons. Backs that off. Can't make his 8th on that play. And Dufelmeyer again with a defensive board. Cannons with plenty of ball handlers out on the floor. Smythe thought about the 3. Dufelmeyer doesn't take it and penetrates, draws the foul. Dufelmeyer, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the league, in fact is shooting 50% from outside the circle this year. 3 team fouls against the Cannons, 2 against the Falcons. McGeechan playing a little game there with Michael Johnson. Steps his way to the hole. He just couldn't make the lay-in, but stays with it.
That's a set play the Cannons ran. They held up the cut and allowed a one-on-one isolation for Herb. Just didn't go down. Good move.
Yes, they often do that. And people who watched the game last week have seen Charlie Thomas working on Andre Moore in the same way. Michael Johnson, the screen that time from Steele. As Steele takes up the jumper that doesn't go for him. So neither team is shooting all that well. 35% the Cannons are shooting at. 31% the Newcastle Falcons. Neither team could be all that happy with that stat. Neil Turner in the game looks to set the pick. He is built a bit like a pick, isn't he? A toothpick, Neil Turner. At the tip in there from Chris Steele works the boards over. As the Cannons have got a small lineup on out there. John Stelter is the big man at 6'8". And we've got a blocking foul that goes against the Falcons, and that will be their 3rd team foul. Referee Cooper to make the call. He's called Neil Turner, number 6. Neil Turner is one that you coached at the Institute, Patrick. He's still built pretty much the same way.
Yes, I think Neil needs to have the sort of impact that I know he's capable of. Needs to build up his upper body, and he's a very good shooter from outside. But if he was stronger upstairs, he could certainly be an impact on the game, both inside and outside.
Well, there's the Cannons huddle. Steve Breeny wouldn't be all that happy with the kind of start the team's made. They're down by 14 points to 12. We've been playing about 9 minutes, and this is probably his worst nightmare because he's been concentrating all week on having the team up coming into this game. And well, the players are old players and they're hard to fool, and it's hard to tell older players that this Newcastle Falcons team is a dangerous team. But I think Breeny there probably reiterating to his team that hey, this team's a tough team. You can't go out there and just run up and down with them. You've got to be able to stick to the kind of stuff we worked on in practice. But we'll check and see exactly what he was saying as we go sideline to Milton O'Brien.
Thanks, Phil. That's exactly right. He said to the guys, just loosen up a little and it'll come, just like in practice. But Steve Breeny a little concerned, but hey, it's still pretty early in the quarter.
Well, Jamie Kennedy in the game, and Kennedy has really been suffering over the last couple of weeks. Well, he's been suffering all season, but particularly over the last couple of weeks with a chronic back injury. Good to see him out there, and I hope he can play some minutes tonight. Dufelmeyer hits his first shot of the ball game. 14 points apiece.
Very good ball movement there from the Cannons. One side, then ball reversal the other.
Smythe with the rebound off the missed Steele shot. Spin from Dufelmeyer at 3/4 court. And let's see if they can keep that ball movement going to open up these outside shooters. They've got plenty of them out there. They've got 4, in fact, all 5 players can hit the 3 if they really want to. Emery Atkinson fakes the move back door. Got the good pass. What a great move.
A little isolation backdoor play for Emery. The play goes towards the ball. He stops, backdoor, pass over the top. Fine execution by the Cannons.
16-14. They've taken the lead on a couple of straight baskets, unanswered baskets by the Newcastle Falcons. And a travel call against Neil Turner as he made every move possible there and just one too many, according to the referee. Now Duffelmeyer running the point. They've got Smythe in the corner. That's Kennedy on the wing as they make the cuts towards the ball. Now it's Duffelmeyer isolating on this left-hand side. Similar play as Stelter that time went to make the cut back door. Just bring it out and try it again. Good patience. You get the shot up there from Duffelmeyer for 3.
Isolation play for Tad again, Phil. They held up the cut. Tad was free on the wing. He operated for a fine 3-point shot. Cannon starting on a bit of a roll. We see it. A nice swish from there.
That's the form of the guy who's shooting 50% for the year from outside the 3-point circle. Now Jamie Kennedy staying right with Michael Johnson, in fact too close, and has sent Michael Johnson to the free throw line. Johnson, who hasn't had too many chances in this game. Out there he's put up 4 shots in the game, but Michael's the sort of player who would normally put up about 30 shots a game. We're deep into the first quarter and he's just gotten 4 up there. He's just got 2 points against his name on 25% shooting. But Michael has been, I guess, looks like a veteran in this team, doesn't he?
Yes, with the current group out there at the moment.
Had his moments with the national squad, never been able to crack it to the final 12. He's always a big scorer in the league. First time shot there was an unusual one from Atkinson going up from the 3-point area. Let's have a quick look at the clock to make sure the quarter wasn't winding down. He shot it up there so quickly. And a travel against Duffelmeyer. So 3 travels already in this quarter, and you don't often see that in the whole game at the NBL. Cannons by 4 at 19-15. We've got a minute to go to end the first quarter. And Steele puts one up there that doesn't go for him and reaches in and fouls Emery Atkinson. And that'll be the 4th team foul against the Newcastle Falcons.
Cannons are just about 2-1 on the rebounds. Phil, they're getting plenty of possession. Newcastle aren't getting many second shots here. You can see the Cannons have 15 to Newcastle's 8. And I think Steve's probably right. If they relax a bit more, it'll come to them. They're getting plenty of good shots away.
That's an unusual situation for the Cannons to find themselves in, because they've been out-rebounded by just about every team in the league this year and were thumped by the Brisbane Bullets last week, even though they had a good win over them by, 16 points. Turnaround jumper that's up off the glass for Duffelmeyer. Really picking his shot well.
Some good decision making there. The ball's going to the right man at the right time. Tad was free off a shuffle cut, as we see Johnson hit for a 2-pointer down the other end.
When Michael Johnson hits that shot, there's not too much more the defensive man can do, because he's just too good with the shot. He shoots that fade away, which he just can't get at. 21 points to 18 as Smythe organising things from the point. This is a last quarter play, because 17 seconds left on the game clock, 15 on the shot clock, so they'll try and milk it down to just a couple of seconds to go, not give the Falcons another attempt. They want to take that lead into the quarter time break as Duffelmeyer up off the window again for another 2. So Duffelmeyer on a string, 2 seconds left for the Falcons to score to end the quarter. James Bullock, that would have counted had it gone. It didn't. So the score at the end of 1 quarter of basketball here at the Palace, the Canberra Cannons 23 over the Newcastle Falcons 18. Falcons come back with a pretty big lineup. Neil Turner's still there, and Herb McGeechan couldn't make the opening baseline jumper, and Bullock brings the ball up the floor. So it's Peter Hill back in the game, back out at the point spot. Went for Michael Johnson, faked the pass to him, but didn't give him the ball, and it finishes up at a Newcastle Falcons ball, coming off Herb McGeechan. But looking through the Falcons lineup, they got Hill, Johnson, Lazard, Turner and Bullock. But we've got a little problem with the score. I think it's with the 30-second clock, which hasn't actually started. So there should have been some time taken off the 30-second clock on that play, and referee Rod Cooper is over at the bench there getting things organised, and they've taken 4 seconds off the 30-second clock to bring it down to 26. Bit of a guesstimate going on there, so the game is underway again. Turner posting up. Quick ball movement from the Falcons into the hands of Peter Hill, and he can hit the 3, Patrick.
Yes, he's one of his special attributes as a junior was his outstanding 3-point range. He can go a metre or 2 outside the 3-point line and make them easy.
I think he can go a little further than that. I remember hitting one from about 3/4 court last year. But that one was well within his range, just outside the blue line. So it will be a Falcons ball up the court, as they've had the best of this opening couple of minutes here at the second quarter. 23-20, the Cannons lead.
The mismatch here with Jamie Kennedy at 6'2", marking 6'11" Neil Turner. And straight away the Falcons are trying to exploit that.
Charlie Thomas recognising it straight away and coming in to help out the Cannons have started the quarter with Emery Atkinson on the bench, and it's very few quarters they do start without him. Not that he's got any foul problems, hasn't got a foul against his name. Bullock, help out from Herb McGeechan. 10-second warning buzzer goes off as Bullock makes himself some room, and it goes back to him too as a slap down by Neil Turner, and Bullock hits it this time, and it's 23-22. So 1 point ball game as the Cannons have to get their act going again. They've got Phil Smythe on the bench as well, so leaving Tad Dufelmeyer had such a great finish to the first quarter
Newcastle
out there.
Into a zone, Phil.
Three-point shot,
outside.
Jamie Kennedy. Kennedy, first shot of the ball game, and it counts for 3.
Fairly nice answer to the zone.
We'll see a little arch on his back there, not too much to knock the vertebrae around. Bullock along the baseline. Bullock's his way to the hoop and hits for 2. So James Bullock really doing a job out there. He's the first one into double figures. He has 10 for the Newcastle Falcons. Hill has 5 and Johnson have 5. 2-point shot from John Stelzer. A little long with it. Charlie Thomas giving them a second opportunity. Very different looking lineup out there for the Cannons. Jamie Kennedy heading for the baseline. He's got hit on the way. He'll go to the free throw line as referee Rod Cooper picks the foul out there, and it's on Neil Turner.
We have an interesting matchup at this end too, with the reverse applying. Jamie's a little quicker than Neil and takes him to the hoop there. And when the Newcastle Falcons are in offence, we see Neil taking Jamie inside to use his height a little bit more as Jamie's successful first.
Neil Turner, one of the best shot blockers in the game. Very mobile with his 6'11" height, but that time he blocked it partially, but just dragged the hand down Jamie Kennedy's arm. Kennedy stinging him off the free throw line to make it 28-24. And Kennedy has 5 points all in this quarter. Steal to the Falcons, to the Cannons, and Herb McGeechan in the backcourt there. It's always dicey, that particular call, Patrick.
It is. The interpretation's a very fine one, Phil, and it's difficult for the referee to determine whether you deliberately control the ball into the back court or not. He judged that that was the case that time, and Newcastle get the ball back after the Cannons went into a 2-2-1 press after free throws.
Yeah, I just plain hate the rule because it was designed to stop people just deliberately passing it back over. There's nothing deliberate about that.
Yes.
And there generally isn't. In low they go. McGeechan tried the shovel pass off to Stelzer. McGeechan staying with it. Charlie Thomas got up there with them, but it's the Falcons who come away with the ball, and they've got numbers. Lazard on the right gets the feed from James Bullock and lays it up off the window for an easy 2. Substitution coming from the Cannons with Phil Smythe coming back into the game to take out Tad Dufelmeyer, and Emery Atkinson coming in to take out John Stelzer. There's Tad Dufelmeyer taking a seat, gets a good hand from the crowd here at the Palace. He's going to sit with 9 points. He's 4 of 5 from the field. Still the Cannons in front, but just 28-26. As Atkinson straight into the action and running that baseline cut. Kennedy faked that pass on the runner, and nobody shoots that shot better than Jamie Kennedy.
It's his trademark, isn't it, Phil? I remember last year him shooting that same shot against North Melbourne to win the game for the Cannons by a point. Tremendous balance shot.
Very tough one to try and make. Phil Smythe trying to draw a charge there. Bullock, who just works so hard around the boards. Excellent offensive board man, and is credited with 2 points there for some excellent work. 30 points to 28. Jamie Kennedy can't hit 2 in a row, and that will be a Falcons ball from out of bounds, and a chance here for them to tie the score up again. So the Cannons having difficulty getting loose of them. Peter Hill, the post-up play again. It's against Jamie Kennedy. On the turnaround to Neil Turner. Couldn't make it. Didn't opt to take him on the inside that time. He travelled last time he attempted to do it. Jamie Kennedy in low. Looked like he travelled as he gave that pass there to Herb McGeechan. And 2-point shot there to Charlie Thomas. I think Kennedy a little fortunate on that play. His travel was quick enough for the referees not to see it, but as timeout called by coach Ken Cole here at the Palace. There's just the one personal foul. In fact, no players in any sort of trouble. Turner has 2, Kruger 2 and Steele 2 for the Newcastle Falcons, but as a team they've racked up 4, and there's still 5.5 minutes to go in this quarter, so the Cannons are going to make the walk to the line a number of times coming down before half time. Emery Atkinson goes around Kruger. Great little, almost a screen and roll.
The old screen and roll play. The defence commits to the ball handler inside. Fine execution again from the Cannons, Phil.
And a dunk on the end of it from Charlie Thomas. Lazard at the other end knocks 2 back. And Lazard and Thomas had a real battle in the first time these two teams played. And in Charlie Thomas's first NBL game with the Cannons. And Thomas had his back turned on that one. It was Kennedy cleaned it up at the back but stepped on the line in doing so. Referees want that ball further back to the corner to get the game underway. They came up close to halfway and the ball went out on the end line. So just players, the referees exerting their authority on the game, say, look, we'll decide where this ball comes in from. Hill with Smythe right up on him. Bullock backs up and got hit from the back by Jamie Kennedy. And Kennedy is going to put James Bullock at the free throw line. So first foul against the Cannons for the quarter. James Bullock has 5 rebounds and 12 points already in this game. He's 6 of 12 from the field, and you can see Steve Breeny getting Tad Duffelmeyer ready there. Maybe he's going to take Kennedy out. In fact, he is. Jamie Kennedy, who's had a great second quarter. In fact, it's Herb McGeechan coming out. I saw Jamie Kennedy nod towards the bench, and McGeechan comes out. Well, Kennedy is 4 of 6 from the field. Duffelmeyer, who's just come in, is 4 of 5. And McGeechan sitting, he's 3 of 9. He has 6 points. Bullock, who played a season with the Melbourne Tigers and did a very good job down there, and then went back to the States and was a bit difficult to find, I think, for some period of time. But he's an excellent ball player, hitting off the free throw line there, and he has 14 points.
3 points the difference, Phil, with 4:47 to play.
So it's a tight one, a bit tighter than the Cannons would like at the moment. Smythe gets met by Lazard. Thomas just almost found the opening there. Smythe thought about the 3, goes inside to Thomas in a 2-man game. The post up, and they worked that out well, took the right shot because they were able to post up Chris Steele against Charlie Thomas, but Thomas just couldn't make the shot. Michael Johnson with a big speculator 3 there that doesn't go. And Charlie Thomas leads the break and throws a poor pass to Jamie Kennedy. Charlie brings the ball out of the backcourt well, but sometimes the pass on the end of it isn't so good.
Yes, it's a difficult decision again to make. Sometimes after 3 or 4 dribbles on the bust out, it may be better to give it to the guard, but he's had some success with that over the years, Phil. Bullock
again is fouled. And it mightn't have been such a good decision to foul him that time because he looked like he was in trouble on the shot. Emery Atkinson fouls him that time. Have a look at it. As he sends Atkinson into the air, Thomas comes in to help out, but it's Atkinson from the back, in fact, who fouls him. So James Bullock, for the second time in about 30 seconds, finds himself at the free throw line, or 30 seconds in game time. And that's his first miss from the stripe. Ken Cole and Dennis Kibble, the coach and assistant coach of this team, what a year they've had. Dennis Kibble, old teammate of mine, who seems to have added a bit more grey hair this year. 1 of 2 off the free throw line for James Bullock, 40 points to 38. And the Cannons having a lot of difficulty shaking clear of the Newcastle Falcons. And we've got a blocking foul against the Cannons that time, setting a screen that referee Eddie Crouch didn't like, and it's against Charlie Thomas on the block. And we've got a substitution taking place. Charlie Thomas has gone out and John Stelzer in. So that's 3 fouls, in fact, against Charlie Thomas. So he's going to find it tough again. There's still 4 minutes to go till half-time, and Thomas has 3.
It's still anyone's game with the lethal power of Michael Johnson, Peter Hill, Chris Steele, all potent 3-point shooters in the form of Bullock.
They've just thrown that one out of bounds, threw it to coach Ken Cole. He still shows he can catch it all right. Ken, who hasn't been the best of health over the last few years, but hanging in there with this team. Emery Atkinson looking to dump on the inside, but too many people there. In fact, takes Bullock on and takes him on and can't score on him now. And it's the Falcons through Hill who come away with the ball. Steele. Lazard in low, looking to take on Emery Atkinson. Shows him the moves, and in the referee calls another travel. That's 4 in the half.
I think he ruled that Lazard carried the ball, and therefore he was walking with it, and that was the travel. Watch this high dribble here, Phil, as we see. There's the travel there.
He's just held the ball up. It's almost like an illegal dribble, isn't it? But travel was the signal coming from the referee. And Smythe looks to go inside to McGeechan there, but cut out by the defence, and the Falcons could draw level right here as they go outside to Bullock. And Bullock along the baseline makes the 2. It's 40 points apiece at the Palace, and there's still 3 to go to end the second quarter. James Bullock doing it all with 17 points. A steal. Smythe to Duffelmeyer pass didn't come off, and Smythe in fact fouled Peter Hill going to the hoop. The Falcons appeal there for an intentional foul. They're only going to get the regulation 2 shots though.
Cannon seems if they need to make an extra pass in their offence, Phil. Early on in the game, they were scoring freely, stringing together 4 or 5 passes. Right now, it's 1 or 2 passes, and there's a little turnover or a little bit of indecision. If they move the ball a little more, I think they may be able to loosen up the Newcastle defence more effectively.
Peter Hill puts the Newcastle Falcons in front at 41-40. Smythe has 2 personal fouls. Kennedy 2, Thomas 3. He's sitting at the moment. And Hill stretches that lead to 2 at 42 points to 40. So this one isn't certainly going to script as far as the Canberra Cannons go. The Falcons on the second leg of a 2-game trip. They went down by about 23 points to the North Melbourne Giants last night. 3-point shot from Duffelmeyer, can't hit it. And Michael Johnson is who runs it down, and a push in the back from John Stelter, and that will put Johnson at the line at the other end to shoot 1-and-1, because all of a sudden the Canberra Cannons have 4 fouls against their name as well. So they haven't been able to penalise the Falcons, who went into that count with 6 minutes to go. They haven't been to the line themselves, and now they've put the Newcastle Falcons to the line with 4 quick fouls. Here's Johnson, Stelter right on his back, and forces him out over the end line, and the referee says that's a foul for pushing the back. In football, you get a free kick for it. Johnson goes to the line to shoot 1-and-1. Michael Johnson has 11 points. He's 4 of 9 from the field, and he's 3 of 4 from the free throw line.
Big play coming up for the Cannons now, Phil. They've got to score here, otherwise they could be in mortal danger of being well down at half-time.
Henry Atkinson picks one in from outside, and Atkinson, who'd been fairly quiet since the opening part of the game, has 8 points on 4 of 7 shooting. Michael Johnson opts to dump inside to Lazard this time. Atkinson staying right with him, and a big rebound chipping in there from Chris Steele to give the Falcons another possession, and a 3-point bomb coming from Peter Hill.
A long way outside, but well within his range, as we see Atkinson for the Cannons on the way back.
Shoots up an air ball, and McGeechan it is who keeps possession here, and they've called it a travel. A travel against McGeechan, turns the ball over, 47-42. Bullock screaming for the ball on the right. Hill goes right out in the front to Steele. Good ball movement coming from the Falcons. James Bullock can't hit the jumper, and it's John Stelter grabbing possession for the Canberra Cannons. 1:20 to go in the half. The Cannons down by 5 at 47-42. In what is a bit of a turn-up here at the Palace. The Falcons, the team that beat the Cannons for their only win of the season. That was a bit of an iffy pass into Phil Smythe. He was able to drag it in but not make the shot. James Bullock over the top of Emery Atkinson, and they get the 2 on the follow-up. Falcon supporters down here must be loving it. 49 points to 42. McGeechan finds Atkinson all the way across the floor. Atkinson for 2. Suddenly the Cannons going away from their offense. Individual play that time, off the ball. It was Steele with a push on Smythe. They'll count the 2 and the foul as well. It'll just be a Falcons ball from out of bounds. No 1-and-1 there for the Cannons. They just get the 2 points off the shot.
A couple of big baskets there from Emery Atkinson. 43 seconds remaining. Theoretically 2 shots left in the game, Phil. Let's see if the Cannons can hold Newcastle out, come back and score themselves.
The foul was Chris Steele's 3rd. Bullock. Players left on the deck here as Lazard's backing it in over Emery Atkinson and hitting it. So a tough play there coming up for the Newcastle Falcons. 51-44, 7-point break right before the half. Duffelmeyer to try and steady the ship for the Cannons. He does it with 2. 51-46, 15 seconds left. Last possession for the Falcons. They hold it up. Johnson gets a block from Herb McGeechan. He'll go to the line to shoot 1-and-1. Ask for the 2-point attempt, but we'll get a 1-and-1 on the foul from Herb McGeechan. The foul is McGeechan's first. So Michael Johnson can stretch that lead to 7 again. It's 51-46 at the moment. Have a look at it. He played for it. And Johnson hits off the free throw line. So Johnson has 15, Hill 10, and James Bullock 17 for the Newcastle Falcons. It's a 7-point game. 8 seconds left for the Cannons to score before the half. After this second quarter, it has belonged to the Newcastle Falcons. Doesn't go from Smythe, the tip from McGeechan does. And that ends the quarter here at the Palace. It's a 5-point game. The Newcastle Falcons take the lead into the halftime, and there's the score at 53-48. After a first half that didn't really go the Cannons' way, and that jump didn't go either team's way. 5 points down, the Canberra Cannons, 53-48 against the Newcastle Falcons, trying to open up the scoring, and a missed layup there from Emery Atkinson. The layup was just given up by everybody else. They're waiting for Emery to make the shot. Well, he didn't, and that's the kind of things that have been happening at patches for the Canberra Cannons. They look very good at times, and, well, not so good at others. Inside they go. Greg Lazard surrounded, can't make the shot, but he does get a second attempt and makes it this time. No, he doesn't. It falls out. And Emery Atkinson grabs the board. Charlie Thomas is playing out there in the third quarter. He's playing with 3 fouls. On a runner, Herb McGeechan. That's a tough shot. Jamie Kennedy's shot that doesn't go for McGeechan. So a chance here for the Newcastle Falcons to stretch their lead.
Newcastle will be trying to go to Lazard, Phil, as Charlie Thomas is on 3 fouls, and we've seen them go to him first time down the floor. Charlie's going to have to be very careful in these few minutes that he doesn't pick up his 4th foul.
Well, he's reaching in there on James Bullock, and that was a dicey one. But got the shot up there, but not in. Herb McGeechan grabs the board. Very quiet first half from Phil Smythe. Reminiscent of the way he'd been the last couple of weeks. He had a super game last week against the Brisbane Bullets. Absolutely outstanding, but back into his shell a little bit this week in the first half. He's none of 4. And Emery Atkinson makes a tougher shot than the one he missed just a couple of moments earlier.
Jumps right over the top of James Bullock, and that's no mean feat.
So Atkinson has 12 points. Duffelmeyer 11 and Kennedy 11. They're the leading scorers. And Hill on the drive, straight past Emery Atkinson, beat the outstretched hand of John Stelzer, and it's still a 5-point game at 55-50. So the Cannons with their starting 5 out there. McGeechan, who started the game, partnering Phil Smythe. Great move from Emery Atkinson, and missed the shot again. Makes all the right moves and then just couldn't lay it in. Peter Hill comes back and tried to make a tough shot, couldn't. The Cannons looking to make a 3-on-3 play here, as Herb McGeechan has to back it back to wait for Emery Atkinson and John Stelzer. Well, Atkinson with a pass there that was meant for McGeechan, so Emery in the third quarter has had a few problems. 2 missed layups and a bad pass.
He's been in every piece of action, Phil.
He's right in there. He's certainly trying his hardest, but it's just not happening for him at the moment. Herb McGeechan on Michael Johnson, who had a great second quarter, and it's James Bullock throws that one out of bounds, claiming he got hit by the referee. He's appealing to the referee for a bit of a hit, but it didn't happen for him. No fouls for either team in the first 2.5 minutes of the game. 17 to Bullock, 12 to Hill, and 16 to Johnson. They're the scorers for the Newcastle Falcons. Underneath to Phil Smythe, dishes that one out to Herb McGeechan and hits it off the window. Put the assist down to Smythe and the 2 to McGeechan. 55-52, the Falcons lead. 3-point shot from Peter Hill.
Does it easy, squares up, and that's his trademark shot. Nice backspin on the ball, releases. Phil penetrates, off to Herb, and 2 points.
Peter Hill is 3 of 3 from outside the circle. He's the one who's really doing the damage. They expect points from Bullock and they expect points from Johnson. When people like Peter Hill chip in, it makes it tough for the Cannons.
He's scored 15 points for the game so far.
He's getting them against Emery Atkinson at the moment. Here he goes again, and he's brought a foul out of Atkinson. Hill is going to go to the free throw line. And Atkinson's foul will be his second. And Peter Hill will go to shoot 1-on-1. Have a look at this. Great drive from him. Always had Atkinson in trouble. So Hill lines up. Now Emery Atkinson is really having a horror patch in this quarter. Being beaten by Hill a couple of times. And also missing layups at the other end and throwing a pass away. So it hasn't really been his game since they've come back after half-time. Hill hits again. Racks up 17 points. He's 4 of 4 from the stripe. Smythe against Harvey. Van strikes up at the Palace. The post-up play from McGeechan against Hill. And that's a tough shot because under plenty of pressure. 2 people, very tough shot from Herb. Fingertip pass. Here it comes. He just caught it. 14 points for McGeechan after that shot. As we come back to the other end, you see Johnson working on McGeechan, leaves him on the floor. Lazard looked like he threw in an extra step there. The referee said nothing. It's 62-56. And Ken Cole parading up and down the sidelines there. Has got to be awfully pleased with the way things are going at the moment. It's got a half-time score in from Brisbane. It's the Bullets 58 over Sydney 52. As Smythe chips in and roves the pack to get the ball back to the Cannons. Emery Atkinson dishes on the outside to Smythe. As they try and just open up things a little bit here at the moment. They've got McGeechan isolated on one side and Stelter makes the cut towards the ball. 3-point shot from Smythe. Can't hit that one. A tip from McGeechan that doesn't go. Thomas got it again. McGeechan again. Blocked by Lazard. And it's Stelter who cleans up the scrap. 2-point shot from John Stelter doesn't go. And it's Bullock on the other side. Smythe reaching in. That'll be the 3rd foul against Phil Smythe. So that's Smythe and Thomas with 3 fouls apiece for the Canberra Cannons. And they're down by 6 points. 62-56. And suddenly, things not looking all that good for the Canberra Cannons.
A sense of urgency creeping into the game, and the Cannons are starting to get a little tight on offence.
Might see the injection of Duffelmeyer again soon, but there's been no attempt to get him off the bench. That's a 2-point shot from James Bullock. Left foot on the line, the referee said. Had a good long look at it. There it is from Bullock. But it does open up the biggest lead of the ball game at 8 points, 64-56. Stelter backing up in here and rolls a little jump hook up that doesn't go. They picked out the right man, just couldn't make the shot. And that's been the story of the quarter for the Cannons so far. They change up the defensive assignments. And Chris Steele blows straight past and is called for a charging foul. He went straight past Emery Atkinson and the defensive man hadn't quite squared up to him. And referee Rod Cooper says that's a charge. We'll have a look at it again. What's the drive here from Harvey? And, well, that's okay. I mean, McGeechan had squared up. He just got half his body on him. And referees often will not call that one. Pretty fair call. But that's Atkinson this time. Atkinson this time hitting the 2. A little bit of funny business going on underneath the basket with John Stelter throwing what little weight he has around. 64-58. Referee waiting for things to cool down. Referee Eddie Crouch is in there having a word to the players. James Bullock and John Stelter eyeballing one another. There's Duffelmeyer getting ready to come in. Bullock to go against Stelter. Those players pretty fired up. Stelter stays there in Bullock's path. Again, that big step from James Bullock and hits. He's shown us that shot a couple of times with a couple of variations, and it looks pretty good.
Gets people up in the air, and it's a big step.
Good pass, Herb McGeechan to Charlie Thomas.
He's the man the Cannons need to ignite for them. Charlie Thomas inside offensively. Phil, at the moment, they're stagnating.
He had a quiet first half. That gives him 8 points for the game. Johnson over the top of Herb McGeechan. Thomas vacuums up the board. Quickly up the floor to McGeechan. In return pass, it's back, and it's a 4th foul against Emery Atkinson as he leaves James Bullock on the floor. 4 fouls, Emery Atkinson. In fact, that's 3. It was Thomas that had 3 before. Have a look at it again. And there's Duffelmeyer coming in. Yes, I was a little quick to give Atkinson 4. That's 3 on him. But it's Smythe, Atkinson and Thomas, each with 3.
Okay, Duffelmeyer's in to ignite something here, Phil. He's been the catalyst. See if he can do that, is to find the Cannons switching on screens away at the moment.
They've taken out Herb McGeechan, but I reckon they're giving him a rest at the moment because they're going to have to bring out Thomas or Atkinson pretty soon. Lazard fires one up from outside that doesn't go, and Thomas leading the break. They've got a 4-on-3, and Thomas down the middle. Atkinson with a jam. He's been hit on it as well. Look for a 3-point play. Good feed from Charlie Thomas that time. Not only did he lead the break, but he shoveled off on a pretty nice pass as well. Stopped himself from charging, and it's Lazard who comes up and fouls Emery Atkinson.
Great athleticism. It's a tough shot to make when you've got a fellow of Lazard's stature hanging off you. The basket counts, and that might be a little bit of ignition type of fuel.
Yes, it was an emotional play, wasn't it? And there wasn't a lot of emotion in the Cannons game in the first half. Well, Atkinson couldn't stick the free throw in, but he does have 16 points to lead the Cannons. Should have 20. It's a 4-point game again as Michael Johnson feeds outside to Peter Hill. That shot goes up, and that's his 4th 3, and all been successful. So Peter Hill really burning it from outside. 69 to 62. The Newcastle Falcons have led by 8. They lead by 7 now and looking pretty good. Dufelmeyer taking over the point to go and work against Hill and gets the foul from him. Dufelmeyer just took Hill on then and said, hey, you're going to burn us at the other end. I'm going to make you do some work at this end. So Dufelmeyer to line up at the stripe to shoot 2. Problems there. He's certainly causing plenty of problems for the Cannons. He's 6 of 8 from the field. He's 4 of 4 from the circle. But Dufelmeyer having a pretty nice game himself. First time on the free throw line. And making 1 of 2. And he doesn't like to miss from there. 50% off the line for Dufelmeyer. But it will be a Cannons ball again. 69-63. They'll be looking to score on this play right here to edge a little closer. Dufelmeyer for 3. Not that time for him. Thomas keeps it alive, and it falls to the Falcons through Johnson. Hill has Smythe in his path. He's surrounded by Smythe and Thomas. And they hold it up. 3-point shot from Michael Johnson. It's short and grabbed in by Tad Dufelmeyer. Dufelmeyer blows straight past Johnson. Feeds Stelzer, but it wasn't a good feed because Stelzer was in a bad position to catch that one. Jamie Kennedy getting ready to come in.
Very scrappy game from the Cannons here. Offensively, they don't seem to be well organised at all, Phil. They need a couple of strong plays. Pumping it inside as we see Hill light up for another 3.
That's his first miss. First miss from outside the circle. Cannons with a 2-on-2. Dufelmeyer's up there. Atkinson finding Dufelmeyer. Gets the shot up there. Didn't have the balance though. Atkinson on the other end and makes the 2. So Embry Atkinson's starting to really work those boards over well.
4-point game, 3.5 minutes to go. See if Cannons can hold them out this time and bring the margin even closer.
18 points to Embry Atkinson. In a 4-point game at 69-65. Bullock, they've kept him quiet just recently. Stelzer doing a pretty good job. Not that time though, as Bullock sneaks in along the baseline. Kennedy to come in, and he's going to take out Embry Atkinson. The Cannons are going to go with the 3-guard lineup of Dufelmeyer, Kennedy and Smythe. Atkinson sits. He's got 3 fouls and 18 points. So Dufelmeyer taking over the point. Kennedy and Smythe on the same wing. Now they rotate. Kennedy taking over. Thomas in the corner, right across the court to Smythe, who's just not in a scoring frame of mind tonight. Kennedy on a runner and up off the glass. It's just an amazing shot every time you see it, isn't it?
Very great touch. Again, it's a nice, sweet shot off the glass. We see him penetrate, good balance, up, over the top of some defence and down.
Back at the other end, Stelzer trying to clean up the board. It comes off Kennedy, I think, run down by Smythe, helped into court, but it's Kruger who's come back into the game to round it up in the backcourt. Bullock looking to take Stelzer on again. Again that big step shot, up off the window but too long with it. And as Dufelmeyer grabs another rebound.
Another big play coming down here, Phil. The Cannons with 2 minutes remaining need to really make this one to get the score back within reach at 3/4 time.
Dufelmeyer has 5 boards. Goes on the inside, pulls it up off the window that doesn't go. Kruger looked for the first time pass and decided against it. It was a pretty good decision. So the Cannons finding it very difficult to get at the Newcastle Falcons. Hill again along the baseline. They'll count it and they'll go to the line as well. I think the foul will go against Dufelmeyer. So Peter Hill again grabs himself some points and causes the Cannons problems. Have a look at it again. Hill, Dufelmeyer comes at him. Well, we couldn't see behind the referee there. The referee says that's a block. and Peter Hill can make another three-point play.
It's his 22nd point of the game, Phil, and he and Bullock are the top scorers. Bullock has 23 for the game.
What a game this young man's having. Peter Hill, who spent a couple of years, it was 2 years with my co-commentator Patrick Hunt at the Australian Institute of Sport, went back to Newcastle and really doing a job for his team tonight. 74-67. Atkinson post up. Has that block by Greg Lazard. Persistence though from Emery Atkinson, couldn't make it. And we've got a foul underneath. It's against either Greg Lazard or Grant Kruger. Maybe Kruger, he's the one who's put his hand up in the air. And it'll be a Cannons ball out of bounds. Third foul for Kruger. There it is. A little push in the back to Herb McGeechan. Penetration from Dufelmeyer to open up Jamie Kennedy in the corner. Couldn't make the shot. The follow-up from Charlie Thomas. He was hit as well. So Charlie Thomas will go to the free throw line to shoot a pair. And the foul is against Kruger. That's number 4. Have a look at it. Just falls out. Thomas grabbed on the arm there by Kruger. And that's the problem that really plagued Grant Kruger in his career in the National Basketball League. He comes in and plays some good minutes and then goes whack, 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 and he's sitting on the bench again.
Falcons are still looking very comfortable at this stage, Phil. They seem to be getting plenty from their offense, and they're causing the Cannons plenty of trouble down the other end of the floor. To see that one go through for Charlie Thomas, it's a 6-point game. Hasn't
been an easy night for Charlie Thomas. Scoring-wise, he only has 9. He has 8 rebounds, though. We've got 1:11 to go in quarter number 3, and still the Cannons trail by 6. 74-68. Cannons tipped to win this one, of course, as Lazard goes outside to Johnson on the baseline. Greg Lazard again. They're playing without James Bullock at the moment, so one of their scoring focus is gone. But they couldn't make that one, Michael Johnson. Charlie Thomas again leading the break. Goes outside the three-point line to Dufelmeyer, and he hits it. And Tad Dufelmeyer brings up his 15th point of the game, and we've got a 3-point game. Closest the Cannons have been for some time.
35 seconds remaining in the quarter as we see another 3.
Peter Hill with an air ball that time. Maybe he's starting to go off the boil. And Charlie Thomas with the ball handling duties. Inside they go to Emery Atkinson. Easy 2. A good feed from Herb McGeechan. The Cannons have started to roll it. Been a couple of top shots from the Cannons in the last couple of moments. It's a 1-point game. 74-73. The Falcons still in front. They've led most of the way. 6 seconds left to end the 3 quarters. Help out there from Dufelmeyer. Kruger post up and takes on Emery Atkinson and scores. Gives the Falcons a 3-point break at 3-quarter time. The plaudits come from the Newcastle Falcons bench, and the score after 3 quarters, there it is, 76-73. The Falcons have dominated throughout, apart from the opening few minutes. And the Cannons are doing it awfully tough. They've started with Kennedy in the backcourt. They've left Smythe on the bench. 3-point shot that falls for Jamie Kennedy. It took the long way down, but that ties the score up at 76 apiece, and 16 points for Jamie Kennedy. A guy who's been struggling over the last couple of weeks. So the Cannons have opted in 2 quarters to leave Smythe on the bench. Paid dividends in that opening one from Kennedy. Bullock, Lazard, looking for the way to the hoop, gets there to the hoop, but it falls to Bullock. Up it goes and in for James Bullock. James Bullock, who was kept to 6 points in the 3rd quarter, grabs 2 in this quarter to grab the lead back for the Newcastle Falcons. Not that they surrendered it, but the Cannons tied for the first time.
What an amazing game basketball is, Phil. This game, the margin's supposed to be comfortably towards the Cannons. Here we have it. It's going to go right down to the wire.
Charlie Thomas just getting up off the floor after having tangled with Greg Lazard. Can't make that one. And Lazard grabs the rebound, so put points down to Greg Lazard on that little play right there. Peter Hill, who had a 13-point 3rd quarter, can't make the opening shot, or Kenny. A tip from Greg Lazard, though, helps it down the chute, and it's a 4-point lead to the Newcastle Falcons at 80-76. The ball handling duties go to this man, Tad Dufelmeyer, and can he handle the ball? He can play just about anyone in the open court. Emery Atkinson, short with the shot. The Falcons come up with the scraps. The rebounding situation starting to favour the Falcons, even though the Cannons lead at 36-33, but they had a big lead in that stat early. The shot that doesn't go, and Jamie Kennedy pushes the Cannons up the court to try and get them off and running. Duffelmeyer for three, floats and can't hit it, but he is going to get his own rebound. Faked his own shot up there, got Lazard into the air, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Cannons are going a little bit one out for mine, Phil. At the moment, they need to string together some more passes in offense. At the moment, it's a little bit desperation stuff here. It's pretty good if it comes off, but if it doesn't, the Falcons are looking far more comfortable at the other end. A fine effort from Tad to regain his own rebound.
Greg Lazard did everything he did in trying to land there and change direction whilst landing, to stop landing on Tad Duffelmeyer. But it's a pretty difficult thing to do, change direction when you're in the air. Not too much to push on. So Tad Duffelmeyer off the free throw line. Hitting that time. Duffelmeyer just 50% from the line tonight, and that would upset him. 80-77. Hill finds Bullock. Emery Atkinson to do a job on James Bullock. Sending him inside out almost. Here he is again in a two-man game. They really wanted Bullock to score then, but Thomas comes up with the board. Duffelmeyer quickly up the floor again. Takes them on and drills at a foul. They'll count it.
Great move. Great move from Tad Duffelmeyer. Under control all the way. Good crossover dribble, stops off the glass. Great balance with the foul. And one.
And can make a three-point play, but for once we can say Tad Duffelmeyer struggling at the free throw line tonight. He's 2 of 4. Make that 3 of 5, and Duffelmeyer has 18 points, make it 19. 20 points to Atkinson, 19 to Duffelmeyer, 16 to Kennedy and 14 to McGeechan. They're the double-figure scorers for the Cannons.
We yet to see Michael Johnson ignite. He's only got 16 points for the game, but because this man here, Peter Hill's been doing it all tonight.
Down low they go to Bullock again to work on Atkinson. The help out from McGeechan then. And Thomas comes in and grabs the board.
Great team defence from the Cannons there, helping each other out. A good possession, see if they can use it. Inside to the snake, down.
And the Cannons have the lead at 82-80. The first time they've led since the first quarter of the ball game on this shot from Herb McGeechan. And that's enough for Coach Ken Cole, because he's dragged his players in for a talk. He's seen this situation so many times right throughout the year, where they've hung with teams for 3/4 of a ball game. I'm sure Coach Cole is saying exactly that to these fellows now. Hey, look, you've been here before, we've blown it before, this time we're not going to do it. He's been out there the whole time. James Bullock has had a short rest, so maybe he can go the full time. But Coach Ken Cole, having a look at the scoreboard, just checking the situation and seeing his team down by 2 points. But it's a game of momentums, isn't it? He's starting to feel the momentum going back to the Cannons.
A good timeout, or a good stage for a timeout, so that he can regroup. The Falcons have gone a little bit one out, which hasn't paid dividends for them, as the Cannons have been on the defensive
Here's
boards.
the foul board. Patrick Kruger still with 4 for the Falcons. 3 players on 3 for the Cannons. We'll go to the sideline to Milton O'Brien for a comment on the Cannons timeout.
Thanks, Phil Lynch. Well, Steve Brenny just said the defence is good, and we all know when the Cannons' defence is good, things start to flow their way. Let's hope that continues.
Greg Lazard against Charlie Thomas, and that will be the 4th foul on Thomas, as Lazard will go to the free throw line. Just got a piece of Lazard that time. Referee Cooper says number 24, it was yours. So Lazard at the stripe. Left-hander, couldn't make it. He was 2 of 2 before that shot. Coach Cole looking pensive and makes 1 of 2 off that time, but it's still the Falcons in arrears by 1. The Cannons would like to build themselves a bit of a break right here. Question of whether they can do it or not. Thomas thought about the outside shot, hasn't taken too many tonight. Duffelmeyer threads it to Kennedy on the baseline. That's 2.
Great pass, excellent balance from Jamie.
Have a look at it. Just threading the needle straight past Peter Hill, and it's 84-81. Lazard almost had a path to the hoop then, but found one on the outside anyway. Greg Lazard with an outside shot makes it 84-83. His team trails by 1. Still the Cannons go with Smythe on the bench. There's Duffelmeyer running the show out there. Feeds inside to Herb McGeechan. That's got to be a goaltend, it is.
Great move from Herb on the baseline. Wheel, set up his man very well to the basket strongly, and the goaltend occurs as we see Harvey come in and Steele come out.
Have a look at it. Hits the glass first before it's hit. Have a look at up on the glass. Lazard gets a piece of it, helps it out over the other side.
Very good call. Difficult to judge those, Phil.
86-83. They certainly are. And the Cannons with that three-point break as they surround Bullock. But inside to go to Lazard. Gets that left-handed shot up there, and Charlie Thomas sucks in another board. He's got 13 rebounds.
Great team defense again. Herb to the basket.
And McGeechan is going to go to the line to shoot a pair, as suddenly the Falcons are finding just a little bit tougher.
Down the far end, as we see Herb go strongly to the basket, there's no doubt about that foul. We saw Charlie Thomas come over and double-team Lazard. And the Cannons are starting to double up inside on people, Phil. We'll see if this trend continues, and they're causing Newcastle some concern.
Well, McGeechan off the free throw line. He has 19 points. 7:17 to go. Still anybody's ball game. But the Cannons on that shot stretch it to a 5-point break at 88-83. Now the flags have come out from the Cannons fans at the Palace. They haven't had many waving opportunities though tonight. Michael Johnson for three. He's the sort of fellow who can turn a game right around. That was from about 6 feet outside the three-point circle. Have a look at it. Just launches into the air, and it's 88-86. So just when the Cannons were pinching a break, Johnson does something about it. Jamie Kennedy pitches outside, two-point shot from Dupelmeyer. Perhaps he was too close. He probably would be better with a three. But Dupelmeyer, he has 19 points and has had an excellent game. Now the Falcons can slow it up.
You can feel the tension in the air, Phil, as both teams now are looking for big baskets each time down the floor. One slip and it could be curtained. The game's delicately poised.
Johnson taking on Kennedy. Can't make that one though, Michael Johnson. McGeechan gets the Cannons underway to Dupelmeyer. Inside to Charlie Thomas, lays it up and in. He's going to go to the line as well.
Tough move inside. Great pass. Charlie Thomas on the way to the hoop under full control as we see it here again.
Remember, this man's playing. He's playing with 4 fouls, Patrick, so he must be thinking about it every time he gets the ball. But Charlie Thomas, who's been a great contributor, particularly in the last 6 weeks or so for the Cannons, has 13 boards and has now 12 points. 91-86.
Newcastle looking to go to their perimeter people, and Peter Hill and Michael Johnson with the inside guys setting screens. Here he is for his three-point shot.
Peter Hill, who's had an immaculate game on the outside. He's 5 of 7 from outside the three-point line. 26 points to Peter Hill. Emery Atkinson got hit on that one. Now the Newcastle Falcons really starting to rack up the fouls. That's the 5th team foul. That's James Bullock's foul. It's only his 2nd personal foul, but it's the 5th team foul, and the Cannons get to go to the line to shoot 1-and-1. This time it's Emery Atkinson.
You would wonder if the game last night in Melbourne is starting to have some effect on the Newcastle Falcons. They don't seem to have as much zip in their legs, but certainly their perimeter shooters are starting to light it up.
Well, they were playing off. That's off James Bullock's legs. Missed there from Emery Atkinson. The Cannons will be lucky to get it back. I was going to say they played North Melbourne last night in Melbourne, the league leaders, and also a team that runs a lot. So they would have been covering a few Ks up and down the floor.
Cannons running an isolation play here for Tad. See if he can operate on Peter Harvey. Elects for the three-pointer. Boom.
Wasn't a bad decision, was it? Top shot, the kids say. It's 94-89. It's time out here at the Palace after that shot from Tad Dupelmeyer. And Dupelmeyer has 22 points. 53% shooting from the Dupe.
At the moment, things are flowing pretty well, and see what emphasis Newcastle put on their attack now. We've seen them come down the floor the last 3 or 4 possessions. Look for Peter Johnson and Michael Hill, both who have produced. We'll see now if they try and have a bit of balance, go inside and then pitch the ball outside to the three-point shooters. At the moment, Charlie Thomas has led the charge from the Cannons and has been doing a great job of that.
Ken Cole, there's the stats at three-quarter time. 46% shooting from the Cannons. The Falcons dropped away to 43, but 35-28 the rebound. What those stats don't show, though, is the three-point figures. And they're the ones that really favour the Falcons at the moment. 7 of 14, and most of those have gone down. 5 of those to Peter Hill. He's hit 5 of 7. 5 of 16 the Cannons have shot from that area for 31%.
If the Cannons defence is equal to the task here now. Charlie Thomas playing with 4 fouls. They're going to the perimeter again. Looks like Johnson's the man they're trying to isolate. Whoops.
Bullock on Atkinson.
Great team defence again.
Well, who got the block? Was it Atkinson or McGeechan? Give it to either you like.
As soon as Bullock put the ball on the floor there, Phil, he was surrounded by 3 Cannons players. Tremendous team defence again. There they are. Jamie Kennedy, Herb McGeechan. I think it was Emery Atkinson on the end of the
Atkinson got the block all right. 94-89. 5-point ball game as they go inside to Thomas. And it falls over the front of the hoop. 7-point ball game. 96-89.
It's not over yet. The 3-pointers are starting to line up out this side. We see Johnson. Herb McGeechan doing a good job on him at the moment.
Staying right in Johnson's shorts, not allowing him to take that 3-point shot. Bullock outside there, nowhere to go against Charlie Thomas. Still keeping the dribble on the move though. Help out from McGeechan.
Again, great help from the Cannons, and Herb McGeechan came across to help out Charlie Thomas there, and a fine defensive rebound.
It's a big effort too to help from McGeechan. I mean, he's got his own troubles with Michael Johnson. He's still out there helping out on James Bullock. Last 2 plays, big plays from McGeechan. Thomas goes right across to Atkinson. Cannons. 7-point break. Dupermeyer can't extend that break. 96-89. As away comes Harvey.
Michael Johnson to the 3-point line. Takes it in for 2.
Up off the window for another 2. 96-91. The clock winding down to under 4 to go now.
Tension on every shot from both teams, Phil.
What do the Cannons do this time? Do they milk the clock a little, take a few seconds off? Atkinson inside. Great look.
Great look, great pass, and underneath the ever-reliable Snake McGeechan.
98-91. 22 points McGeechan, 22 Dupermeyer. They lead the scorers for the Cannons.
Hill's free on the far side.
Now they find him, but a little too late as Jamie Kennedy closes on him. 3-point shot from Michael Johnson. It doesn't go. Dupermeyer fighting with Bullock. For the rebound, it came off Bullock. It'll be Dupermeyer's ball in the backcourt. Goes straight up to find McGeechan, and an easy 2.
Everybody standing and arguing. The old adage, one must play on.
Dupermeyer put that pass right on the button. 191. 3 assists to Tad Dupermeyer. He's got 6 rebounds as well to go with his 22 points. Greg Lazard couldn't get that one to roll for him. Thomas leading the break again up to Kennedy, but put it behind his head. Again, that pass from Charlie Thomas doesn't go to the man. Charlie Thomas arguing with the referee, say, hey, you got hit on the pass.
Critical play there. The Cannons could have put that one beyond doubt, blowing it out to 11 points. Instead, Newcastle with those deadly 3-pointers are still well within touch with 2 minutes 40 to play.
Again, Michael Johnson taken on the drive this time, drags the foul out of Herb McGeechan, and it'll be Johnson to go to the line to shoot 2. I think they'd be happier to see Johnson on the line shooting 2s than bombing away for 3s on the outside.
Here it comes.
But what this does is stop the clock, of course, and allows them to get 2 while the clock stops. Johnson does the first part of that. Again, he's having a pretty nice game, 22 points, but below his average. Michael Johnson, 7 of 8, from off the free throw line.
Newcastle coming up the floor, full court man-to-man pressure.
Dupermeyer will love this. He'd love to take Peter Harvey on. It's a 1-on-1 play. Hill coming across to help out. Great pass from Dupermeyer to find Thomas. A good one back to Atkinson. Excellent piece of play there from the Cannons. The gorilla shows the Cannons sign in appreciation. That was a superb pass from Dupermeyer to find Thomas, and then a little shovel pass to Atkinson. Bullock could do no more than foul, and Jamie Kennedy takes a seat on the bench to the plaudits to the crowd. Jamie Kennedy sits with 18 points against his name in the best game from him in a long, long time.
A welcome return to form from him in a much needed performance here.
Bill Smythe in the game for the final 2:25. Smythe hasn't got a point against his name. as Henry Atkinson hits off the free throw line. 21 points to the Big E. 5 Cannons in double figures. 1 of 2 that time to Atkinson, but he's going to get another opportunity. No, he's not. They've seen a foul down the lane. Who's it against? It goes against Grant Kruger. That's number 5 for him. That'll be Herb McGeechan on the line to shoot 1-1. And we talked about Kruger's fouls before. Again, he's spoilt the situation for himself. Out he goes with his 5th foul. So Grant Kruger, who got a big body and throws it around a bit in there, doesn't throw it around with a lot of discretion at times. And he takes the seat and brings Greg Lazard back. We'll talk about big bodies. Have a look at this one coming in.
A wide body.
Herb McGeechan at the line to shoot 1-1. Wobbles the first one in. He's going to get a second opportunity. 2:25 to go, and the clock really starting to work against the Newcastle Falcons now. That lead is out to 9 points, and that's 10. Been a big struggle for the Cannons tonight.
3 threes and a 1-1 the difference, Bill. That's what be going through Steve Breeny's mind at the moment.
You almost sound like a dart player trying to work out how to get down to double six or something like that. 103.93 with 2 to go. Hill tries to penetrate for Johnson. Not looking so much for the 3 right now. We've seen Michael Johnson head for the hoop the last couple of plays. And James Bullock takes the 2-point shot and leaves it a lot long. 4-on-1 play for the Cannons. 5-on-1. Oh, what a pass. What a super pass. A bit of showboat there from Dad Dubelmeyer, but it'll be worth another look if we can see the pass from the Duke.
It's nearly the no look, no hands pass.
Have a look at it. What's the ball? Keep your eye on the ball, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Behind the back, into the hands of Emery Atkinson, and the Big E gets hit on the way to the hoop by Peter Hill. Bit of a show for the crowd here tonight at the Palace. The Cannons, I guess they feel they've got it won.
We've had the private investigators in to work out where that one came from.
Emery Atkinson at the line. Hits 1 of 2, and Atkinson has 22 points for the game. McGeechan leads all scorers with 26. Peter Hill couldn't make it, and that one's off the hands of James Carr, who's just come into the game. Goulburn viewers would be happy to see James T. Carr out there, getting his first minutes in the game, but they've come with about a minute and a half to go. James, who played in Goulburn, was picked up from there by Ken Cole. And the crowd saying to clap for the Cannons tonight, but they haven't had a lot to clap about in the first 3 quarters. Charlie Thomas couldn't make that one. Lazard's rebound out into the hands of Johnson. Chris Steele with a spin past Bill Smythe and a rebound for Charlie Thomas. McGeechan up the court from Emery Atkinson. Makes his way to the hole for 2.
Cannons on a roll now, a minute to play, out by 13.
106.93. McGeechan, 28 points, top score. Up they come to Atkinson. Look for the dunk if we can get control of it. Inside to Charlie Thomas, a little loop pass from Tad Duffelmeyer. That's 2. Stick another assist down to Duffelmeyer. Michael Johnson fades from the baseline and hits, but it's way too late for the Newcastle Falcons. The horses bolted. It's 108-95 to the Cannons.
Excellent team defence throughout this game from the Cannons. Fellas really turned the tide their way in the second half.
Patrick, you read it in the box score in the paper and it'll probably look easy. But it hasn't been an easy night for the Canberra Cannons. The Falcons have played it well. Smythe, looking for his first points of the ball game, is hit by James Carr. So Smythe will go to the free throw line. So here's the move from Smythe and the slap from James Carr, and Smythe gets to shoot a pair. 108-95 with 16.5 seconds to go. Patrick, I'd like to start you to start thinking about the man of the match. We want a Cannons man of the match here.
I think Charlie Thomas would have to come fairly close in my mind, either Charlie or Tad Duffelmeyer.
Tad Duffelmeyer, Herb McGeechan, they're all in it.
There's plenty there.
James Carr looking for points, and he's hit. So Carr goes to the other end. with just under 9 seconds to go, and he gets a chance to hit points. So James T. Carr out of Goulburn Town at the line and gets himself on the score sheet. Well, he's got it on the score sheet at the other end with a foul, but Ken Cole sitting back and thinking what might have been here at the Palace tonight after 3 quarters of great basketball from the Newcastle Falcons. The tip on the end of it comes from Michael Johnson. 27 points for him. Little loop pass and an alley-oop play. Charlie Thomas on the end of a Tad Doofenmeyer pass. What a punctuation mark to finish the game. With the final score here at the Palace as the coaches shake hands. Ends up a 13-point or a 14-point win to the Canberra Cannons on that play from Charlie Thomas.
Such luck for the Falcons tonight. The Canberra Cannons far too good, and they roll on towards the semi-finals for 1990. And of course they were runners-up last year, and I think they'll make it tough for a few teams for the rest of the season. Don't forget, next Saturday night, a home game against Westside Melbourne. Try and get over the stadium and support the Falcons. They really do need your support. If you can't get over there, don't forget to watch it right here on NBN on Saturday Night Shootout. On behalf of all the crew, I'm Mike Rabbit bidding you good evening.